I remember this one vacation that we took back in 2016. It was a 3-day weekend, so Sidra and I decided to take the kids on a mini vacation. We live in Ohio, and it's home of Kings Island and Cedar Point. Both Cedar Point and Kings Island are pretty big, and there's a lot of things you can do as a family at these parks. And both parks are really only about maybe hour and a half, 2 hours away from us. So Sidra and I thought, let's get a cabin near Kings Island, and we will book it for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So after we booked everything, we told the children, and they were pretty excited. You know, they'd never been in a log cabin before, and I personally think they were probably just as excited to get in that log cabin as they were to go to Kings Island. So we got to the campground. It was called Beechwood Acres, and it was tucked away in this nice little, cozy little woodsy area. But it was not that far from Kings Island. The kids had been sitting in the van for like hour and a half, 2 hours. Are we there yet? You know, all that. So when we finally got there, everybody got out of the van and we just stretched our legs for a minute.
Sidra was about to go check us in and get the keys to the cabin. Jill was looking around, wondering where we were. Sidra had this beautiful smile on her face. She was relaxed. It was nice to see that. Dominic and Jaden took a seat out front while Sidra went inside. Dominic was calm, but he kept asking when we'd see the cabin. Jaden was excited. He couldn't stop talking. For once, he put his iPad down. That was a good sign. Well, I was feeling pretty good too. In this photo, Dominic was asking again when we'd get to see the cabin. The kids sure were amped to see that cabin. While we waited for Sidra, my oldest daughter Destiny posed for photos with the other children. And G was wondering, what in the heck were they doing? We pulled up and parked. It was right in front of the cabin, but it was fine with us. We were just happy to be there, spending time with each other. The first thing I noticed was how many trees were around us. Sidra and I were also pleased that other cabins and camping trailers really weren't that close to each other. There was some spaces between each lot. The front of the cabin had a picnic table and a small fire pit equipped with a grill. We had ordered firewood from Beechwood Acres. They kind of dropped it off before we got there. The cabin itself was a bare bones cabin, nothing fancy. When the kids saw the cabin, you would have thought it was a mansion or something. They were impressed with how the outside looked. Jaden was happy that the bathrooms were pretty close. When we walked in the front door, immediately to the left was the kitchen area. No refrigerator or oven, just a countertop with a small microwave. There was a glass-top wooden square table with 4 chairs close to the front door by the window. This was not a disappointment. The brochure said it was a bare-bones cabin, so we came prepared. We bought a large cooler to keep drinks and lunch meat cold. We weren't cooking breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We planned the trip. We checked out the restaurants that were close by to eat at. On the right side of the cabin by the front door was a small living room. The living room was equipped with a futon that pulled out into a queen-size bed. In front of the futon was a glass tabletop with granite squares at its center. Now, the children were excited to be in our little cabin. But the biggest hype was the loft. A wooden ladder was in between the 2 floor-level bedrooms. That's how you got up there. The loft had 1 queen-size mattress on the floor with no bed frame. Everyone, and I mean everyone, had to climb that ladder just to check out the loft. It was decided that since Destiny was the oldest, she would get the loft. Jill would sleep with her. The boys would sleep in the room on the right with the bunk beds. And Sidra and I would sleep in the bedroom on the left that had the queen-size mattress. Once we settled in, we were all pretty hungry. It was time to go and grab a bite to eat.